Consider this to be a little bit of a preview for a video that I have scheduled to release over the weekend, because there was an interview that came out at the beginning of the week revolving around Rachel Zegler, and it was a very glowing interview, and it was really setting up the rest of her career. It was, well, you'll just have to wait and see what I got in store for you, because it is incredibly cringe in the way that they're trying to paint her as this successful triple threat that can sing, dance, and act as well, and she has taken her talents to the West End of London to scream her lungs out, the empty streets of London to experience. Oh my god, it's a real breathtaking story. But something that was in that interview that I just simply glossed over, that I think that we could really focus in on right now in light of other news that we will be getting to. But Rachel Zegler claims that leaving Hollywood was her choice, okay, after the Snow White flop. And I've talked about this, and I've heard so many people out there say, no, yes, Snow White, that's going to be the end of Rachel Zegler. This whole experiment is over. She would be best served to, be a theater kid, because that's where she's the best at. That's where she excels, because for as bad as Snow White was, she could sing, if you could even tell through all the auto-tune that was there. But yeah, no, she has a knack for something. But, I was somebody, and I'm more than willing to pat myself on the back for this one. But then again, just to compare and contrast, whenever I have a thoughts or state an opinion that I think is widely held by other people, I will give them credit. But I did not see anybody else talk about this. Okay, so don't forget, when your boy called it, But I said, look, Rachel has no discernible acting talent. Okay, everything that she has been attached to has bombed, but she is exactly who Hollywood executives, the ones that are staffed there right now, just love. A very malleable 24-year-old dolt that will just go ahead and take all the slings and arrows for a project, and they can hold her up saying that, oh, no, it wasn't our movie that was bad. It's just all of those racist, sexist bigots that are out there. And you might think that we're getting to the tail end of that stuff. It's just that entire movement is running on fumes, but they will still continue to do this stuff. It's kind of like with the Pedro Pascal stuff. It's just like what you're experiencing right now with Ironheart. It's not a bad show. It's just you hate black women. And it's like, yep, sure. I hate the black women that are in that story because it's a really bad show. And hate's even a strong word. It's just more antipathy and just random bouts of hysterical laughter. But in the case of Rachel Zegler, like, just seeing the people and the causes that she champions and what she wants to do to a certain segment of the population, well, hell, actually, it's not even a segment of the United States population. It's a global population, because she said in the aftermath of the 2024 election that the Trump supporters, myself included, should never know peace. So, Rachel, you can go fuck yourself for that one. So, yeah, for as much as, I don't really hate anybody that I talk about. I think that they do a lot of stupid stuff. But in the case of Rachel Zegler, I'd be willing to make an exception. I just think that she is just your standard modern woman, okay? Like, if we're to have anybody who is just the avatar of the mid 20-something, it's Rachel, 1000%. But she is going to continue to get work. I still think she's going to get cast. She's going to be one of the X-Men. Like, okay, I could see her being Jubilee because Kevin Feige is so fucking stupid. I could totally see that being a reality. You just wait. Give it enough time. She'll be in a Star Wars project as well, because she has talked about that glowingly. I think that was last year or something like that. I think that was, that might have been in conjunction with The Acolyte. She's been everywhere talking all this shit. But apparently the revisionist history is now that she claims that she left Hollywood of her own choice right after the Snow White flop. No, I wasn't fired. I quit, and I took my talents elsewhere. And it's like, yeah, no, I kind of believe this. Mostly because I don't see her career being over at all. Zegler is claiming that she made the decision to leave Hollywood and return to the theater after the disastrous Snow White. Zegler is back in the spotlight, but not the one that she's used to chase. In a new feature interview, the embattled Snow White actress offers a carefully curated look at her current chapter starring as Eva Peron in the already controversial West End revival of Evita. We go into that. I think that's coming out Saturday or Sunday. I think Sunday. We're going to go with Sunday. But beneath the gloss is a deeper story. A Hollywood career that is seemingly stalled, wrapped in public relations narrative that Zegler insists was always her own design. I came back to theater of my own volition, which is just crazy, Zegler says, laughing. I'm the type of person that can only be bored for 2 weeks, and after Romeo and Juliet closed, I was doing the odd press here and there for Snow White, and I was sitting there for a bit going, what am I supposed to do? Well, sing in these castles and stay away from from the microphones because you're just liable to say something silly. Her use of the phrase "are on my own volition" reads like a preemptive defense, one that echoes a familiar tone of "you can't fire me, I quit." Oh, see, they came to the same conclusion. Parallel thinking, especially when paired with the admission that she was idle and aimless following the fallout of Snow White. Yeah, it became hard to view her return to theater as purely strategic or artistic. Which, I mean, man, like Tom Holland, nobody is going to say that he is, blacklist persona non grata in Hollywood, and yet he did a play on the West End. Okay, there's a lot of crossover between theater and Hollywood. Okay, I'm not exactly breaking any new ground with that revelation, but she was also, and I don't know if she brings this up, but yeah, she was looking after her sick dog and some shit like that. So yeah, she was a little tied up on that one, and then even before Snow White premiered, she already had that Evita gig booked. So I don't know, man. I think that there's a lot of incongruency going on right now. Or perhaps she got tapped on her shoulder by her agent and was like, just let this cool off for a little while. Just go do your goofy little play over there. Okay, stay off of social media for a minute and then just go sing your lungs out. People like you for that. So just go ahead and do that. Okay, they'll be fine for a minute. And lo and behold, that appears to be exactly what is going on here, because Zegler rumored for the Julie Andrews iconic role, and yes, the reboot of The Sound of Music, because holy shit, it's not even just your cherished cartoon memories that are going to be getting the reboot treatment and the race swapping treatment. It's also going to be one of the seminal musicals of all time. And yep, after the Snow White bombing, she's going to be singing how the hills are alive with the sound of music, because you might think that this is far-fetched, okay? You might think that this is totally unbelievable, but just cast your mind back to The Sound of Music, and I'm sure at one point in time, everybody has seen at least snippets of that film. It's iconic. I would say there's an argument to be made. Maybe if it's just the musical Mount Rushmore or just the Rushmore in general when it comes to stories, it's up there, okay? It's pretty iconic, okay? But who's the antagonistic force in that movie, okay? And who is it that Rachel Zegler always rails against on social media? And if this is going to be rebooted for a modern audience, it fits like a hand in a glove. It is now rumored that Rachel Zegler might be starring in The Sound of Music, playing the role made popular by Julie Andrews. Sound of Music is a classical musical set in Austria during the rise of Nazi Germany. Wow, I wonder what allegories are going to be pulled if we're going to be doing a reboot on that one. Oh no. Maria needs to rescue some young trans kids as they're besieged upon by some red MAGA hat wearing chuds. God, this is gonna suck, hey? It follows, yes, Maria, a spirited young woman who leaves a convent to become governess and the 7 children of widowed naval officer Captain Von Trapp through music, love, and resilience as she helps reunite the broken family. 1965 film adaptation starring Julie Andrews is one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Known for songs like Do Re Mi, My Favorite Things, and Edelweiss. Yes, it's iconic. I don't like musicals like that, but I know The Sound of Music. You know The Sound of Music. Following her big flop recently at the box office with Disney's Snow White, Zegler exited Hollywood, retreating in favor to play Evita. Yeah, and it's not like she's going off-Broadway or some shit like that. This is West End London, okay? This is UK Broadway. She went from strength to strength. I don't know how people thought that, she was just going to be resigned to the dustbin of history. She ain't going anywhere. Well, initially, ticket sales were something akin to a ghost town. Yes, tickets are still available, according to Deadline. Evita is a big success for Rachel Zegler, so much so that there's intense talks of Zegler playing Julie Andrews' part in The Sound of Music at Lincoln Center. But hold on to the Do Re Mi of it. That's not in any shape or form confirmed, according to Deadline. Okay. Where the mention is a claim, could be simply to create hype and headline for Zegler and the play. The Deadline writer also throws it out there that Evita could come to Broadway, and quite laughably adds at the end of the article, just realize that there's been no mention until now of Snow White, of Disney's Snow White movie. Who cares about that film anyway? Oh, right, yeah. It should never, ever have been greenlighted in the first place. But yeah, let me go ahead and extol the virtues of Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. Only Zegler, with that voice of hers, rises above la merda, only to endure opprobrium being unfairly dumped on her from wimps who should have known and should have behaved, yes, better towards her, when this Disney dud was released. Who's this interesting individual who wrote this article? want to scroll through Rachel Zegler's past and just see how well she's comported herself in different scenarios. But Zegler has also been announced for the comedy drama She Gets It From Me, a low-budget indie flick which she plays the daughter of pill-popping ex-punk rocker mom. Yes, played by Marissa Tomei. So yeah, low-budget indie flick with somebody who has a considerable amount of star power. This has all of the makings of just padding somebody's resume to just catapult them back in a couple years' time. Go ahead and take high-profile roles on Broadway, keep yourself in the news, and then just a run back, not learning a goddamn thing, because anybody else who wasn't Rachel Zegler, any other young entitled brat in Hollywood that would have pulled half of the shit that you did, you would have been destitute and filling out fucking work applications at fast food restaurants. But no. She has warm hands and a soft mouth, so she bet your bottom fucking dollar that she ain't going anywhere this decade or the next. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.